Hola.
What's up?
Not much. How are you?
Having more fun than guys allowed to have.
There's a limit on how much fun you're allowed to have?
Oh yeah, my wife will tell you that.
Okay.
I'm kidding. No, I'm doing well.
Good.
That's a Midwestern phrase, you know.
Mm. Right on.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good.
I was actually talking to Preston.
I'm good. You caught me with a mouthful of lunch, liquid
Okay.
lunch.
Oh, I thought you said, how are you done?
No, I did.
Okay. Thanks for the correction this morning on the, we hadn't adjusted it in our spreadsheet that you were in this cohort versus the other one. So
That's all good. It is all good.
Yeah, Matt, I'm just looking through all the keep lists that Anne Marie taught us yesterday to do the groups look.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of
I thought I
misalignment.
got to move.
Yeah, we got a lot of misalignment. So you're going to see an email on each of the cohorts. So, but most of it's for Anne Marie. There may be something in there for you. Just I sent the one question separately on Joshua Barrick.
Right.
There's nothing on the spreadsheet for him. There's nothing in keep on him. I couldn't find him on LinkedIn. He hasn't come in 3 times. I don't know if you had any more information.
Have not heard from him.
Okay. You have a LinkedIn URL for him?
I'll get to it. I've got some other things that are higher priority right now. Okay.
That's a pretty easy one. The answer is yes or no.
The answer is no, I do not.
Okay. Have you had a meeting with him?
I have, but I'm
okay.
Okay.
You got an email for him probably then.
Maybe.
Okay. Preston, looks like you may get one-on-one treatment today, my friend.
Yay.
Yeah.
That should be fun.
Yeah. We'll see. Everybody usually shows up in the last minute. So
yeah, my wife makes fun of me because I'm still a big fan of the 10 minutes prior to the 10 minutes prior. So
don't ever feel bad about that. Man, oh man, that's a good habit.
Yeah, the wife's like, oh, we're gonna be right on time or late. No, honey, no.
Yeah, Matt, we got a lot of duplicate records in keep. I'm finding.
Hello, Latricia.
Hello. How are you guys?
Finer than frog's hair. How fine is frog's hair, you would ask? I don't know. I've never measured it. There's Daryl. Getting all the services in here today. Got Army, Air Force. Preston, remind me, was it your Army or your Marines?
Army, yeah.
Army. Yep. Okay. So we got 2. Did you win any money on the Army Navy game?
No, I didn't even watch it.
No. I can't say I did either. It sounded like quite an ending though.
Yeah, it did sound like an ending. But yeah, I'll leave that up to the West Pointers to watch. I don't care anything about it.
Yeah. I didn't have a concern much until I was at Army War College and we had a big party that day. So which I thought was funny because it's the Army Navy game and we filled out the squares and put, everybody had a number for the first half and the second half. And I won the first half. And I was
Wow.
1 minute away from winning the second half. I thought that would be so apropos for the Air Force guy to win all the money on the Army Navy game.
How much money did you win?
Oh, it's $50 or something like that for the first half. Yeah. So I didn't get rich on it. I couldn't. Well, maybe back then I could have bought a share of Apple stock. Maybe I probably could have.
Or a fraction of it.
Yeah. Well, I think somewhere back in 04, it was less than $50. And they've split twice since then, right? So
More than
you'd
that.
be up somewhere around $1,500 for my 50. That's pretty good in 20 years.
Yeah. If I had the knowledge of that I have now when I was in the 20s, I would be doing good.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
Try to teach all that shoulda, coulda, wouldas to my daughters, and hopefully it sticks with them.
Yeah. So here's the big question, then we'll jump in. If you knew what you knew now, would you go back to high school and do it all over again? Teresa says no. And she didn't even pause.
If I meant to go into high school again, I would probably drop out, and yes, I would just drop out and do my own thing again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Well, that's a tough question.
What
I
makes
hated
it so tough?
high school.
And looking back and taking a look at all the experiences and achievements and relationships that you've developed now and have now, and then going back in time and having those possibly replaced by a different reality or by a different set of people and, you know, advancements and relationships and offspring even. It's like,
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I've had some people answer that with, it was all the hardships and lessons and learning that I went through that made me who I am today. And no, I don't want to, I wouldn't give those up.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kind of think back to, because I was so quiet in high school. And my natural tendency is still that way, but I've really learned to overcome it. So thinking about how I would be much more engaged with people, more outgoing, more involved in different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I could have gone so much farther.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm curious, Latricia, you said immediately no. What would lead you to that?
It was for the reasons because I feel that everything that I've experienced in my past has made me into the person I am
There you go.
today.
Yeah. You're pretty darn successful, Chief. Yeah. All right. Hey, last time we had Spotlight, we actually did a lean coffee. We were talking about the structure of LinkedIn posts. And Matt talked a little bit about journalism and his points. And I was curious how that has impacted each of you guys over the last couple of weeks as you were thinking about your LinkedIn posts and your structure. How are you guys progressing forward?
For me, I haven't really been on there as much as I normally am because of other priorities. So.
Yep, I can relate to that. That's some of the hardest thing, right? Isn't it? It's time management and finding that time.
Yeah.
Priority. Yep. And Matt and I've got a board member, and he has posted every day for like 5 years.
Good Lord.
Has not missed a day. And that I almost look at that and say, it's like, that's a banner I'm not even sure I want to try to have. So it's because when we're out camping, you know, the last thing I want to do is wake up first thing in the morning and write a post. It's get up, get ready, and get out in the bird, get in the bird blind, and go just enjoy. We have a newbie, Quentin Taylor Garcia. Good to see you.
Hello, everyone. How you guys doing?
Hello.
I'm trying to get my last bit of stuff in the food before I put my camera back on, so you don't see me looking like a cow chewing.
Okay.
It's not stopping me. So
There you go. Well, Quentin, we're going to go through wins. We're going to do an education moment. We're going to do wins and challenges. And then we're going to come around to you introducing yourself. So I just want to give you a heads up, 30-second intro, who you are, what you're doing, what you want to do in the future, stuff like that. So just so you got that heads up. But great to have you. Matt, did you want to do the education moment?
Yes,
Over to you.
1 second. Let me get it set up.
Here we go.
Was there any other discussions on the previous spotlight from Preston or Daryl? Hosting?
I've got my notes here from the 29th, so I still owe you that marketing plan, but I'll get with you after this to show you what I have, because it's like, I won't say disorganized. And for me, it's kind of organized, but not really organized to like share. But I'll show you what I have.
Okay.
And then if you like it, I'll just email it to you.
Okay. If you want to stay on a few minutes afterwards, we could do
Mhm.
that.
I haven't done anything with LinkedIn, but I started planning. I'll discuss some of it with wins and challenges, but I've just been doing planning and just kind of thinking about, because I'm still in an initial planning phase of going on the entrepreneurship path. And with the social media posts and everything, I started looking at the different social media management softwares, Hootsuite and Hootsuite competitors. And a lot of those, if you're going to do daily posts, I think that's really a way to do it, because the way my mind works, if I sit down and I start typing, I'll be typing for hours.
Mhm.
So the, those programs that do the social media managing, that'll post on multiple platforms, and you can schedule the posts, you just front load them, and I don't have to deal with it.
Mhm.
The problem is the budget doesn't allow for that right now. So once I get some actual income coming from, which is easier said than done a lot of times, I will reinvest it into one of those programs and use one of those programs to.
What was the second one? You said Hootsuite, and
There was a couple of other ones. I've got a list on my computer at the office of the different ones, but there's a couple of Hootsuite competitors that are cheaper than Hootsuite that
Okay.
might actually be more powerful than Hootsuite. But I got to do more. I'm still doing research on those and just trying to figure out which ones would best suit my needs, because Hootsuite is overpowered for what I want.
yeah. Okay. I mean, there's something like, I can't remember what it was, but it's Jasper or something like that. I got to go back and look. But it's
There's a couple of them. I looked at
there's
about 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, it's an AI, artificial intelligence learning platform. So you go in, you just give it all kinds of information, it comes up with your posts for you.
Okay.
It comes up
Well,
with blogs, it comes up with articles. It's pretty good. I'm impressed, but it's $100 a month or something like
Yeah.
Mm.
Nope. Don't
Oh,
have
yeah,
that in the budget.
that. What's that, Daryl?
Yeah, so yeah, that's probably Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper. Yeah.
Jasper with
I'm
boss
looking-
mode and all of the good stuff.
I'm looking
right.
something more than $10 a month range, if that.
Yeah.
So it's all when you start out, right? You got to be very careful.
And take a look at Zoho Social.
What was it?
Zoho Social.
Zoho Social.
Mhm. And I have a
Okay.
number of apps, but my yearly subscription for like all 40 of their apps is probably about $400, between $400 and $500 a year. But that's for Zoho one for all their apps. But there are different,
Okay.
like free, and there are different tiers for each one of those type of apps or group of apps for a specific job function or business solution. So
Got it. Okay.
All right. Mr. Matt, over to you.
Okay, guys, I'm not sure if I shared the screen here.
you're on.
Okay, all right, hang on a second. So we're going to talk today about building the connection database. I know I'm talking to some experienced people that know how to use CRMs and all that, but what I want to talk about is the relationship between a LinkedIn connection and using apps like Calendly and a CRM to build a connection database. So I'm a big fan of Calendly.com. There's the free version of this. This is the website you want to go to get that. With the free version, you get one type of meeting. With the premium, which I pay about $15 a month, it allows me multiple types of meetings, okay? And as they were saying in the previous group, it also allows you to give a database of people that you've connected with, which can be really good if you forget to, that you had a meeting with someone, but you forgot how to get the information. As you'll see in a second, it'll capture the the data in such a way so you'll have all the key things. Okay. So, you know, when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, right? I always like to follow up about a day or two afterwards with a message like this. And then this is usually what happens. Do you have a time that works for you? May I suggest you look at my Calendly schedule? This lets you pick a time that works for you, and then I give them my Calendly.com scheduler. Okay. Next thing, of course, is the CRM. Having a CRM that works with Calendly is pretty easy because, as you're going to see in a second, first of all, does anybody have a question about the CRM? Who has a CRM and what are you using for your CRM? Quentin, do you have a CRM?
Can you guys hear me? Let me unmute myself. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Okay. No, I do not have a CRM.
Okay. Well,
Please explain what a CRM is.
It's a customer relationship management system. I use Pipedrive. Microsoft has a tool. There's about 15 variations of this, but let me show you how I use Pipedrive. Okay.
Okay.
So this would be coming from my Calendly app. This would be how I'd get David Barrett's information. And basically what I tell Calendly to do is give me the phone number and the email, but I could also ask him for the LinkedIn as well. And then when I have that, then I harvest the data and I say, okay, if I need to get a hold of David Barrett, he's already in my CRM. I also can set suspenses and other things so that I know how to follow back with him. Questions, thoughts?
And Pipedrive is free, correct?
Pipedrive is 20, it can be free, but the version I'm using is $25 a month. Like all apps, there is a free version and there's a premium version. So I would do a little research on that. To me, it's worth the $25 a month. And so that's just one of many out there. I'm using.
I like it.
Okay.
From what you're saying, I like it so far. But what I'm trying to do, I see this helping out a lot. So between this one and Calendly.
Calendly.com is like, you can program it to ask specific questions. So at the very least, I have a phone number and an email for everybody that I come in contact, because from time to time, I have to cancel appointments or something like that. And so this is very, very helpful in that regard, but it's also a good way to harvest the data. Back to you, Don.
And the beauty of that one is you can set up reminders. So the day prior, it'll send to say, hey, just want to remind you about the meeting tomorrow. And it'll be like 3 hours prior. Hey, want to remind you about the meeting in 3 hours. And then it can even send a note afterward and say, hey, thanks for meeting with me this afternoon. That was a great conversation. Right.
Yep.
Got to be careful that if you send the autoresponder and it was a terrible meeting, it's like, oh, what? But but I think you can control a lot of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of goodness that coming out. When we talk about time management, priority management, especially for entrepreneurs, it really makes a huge difference to get away from that going back and forth. When you're trying to talk to somebody or network somebody and you lose contacts, the CRM helps you stay in touch and says, I'm going to connect back with that person in a day or 2 days. Right now you got a list instead of just having to go back through your LinkedIn messages. And then now when you've got that Calendly piece, they can go right to you. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, you stole my thunder. Is like the, hey, Don, we've got the second Tuesday of next week, that kind of stuff. Excuse me.
That's my job, is to steal your thunder.
No, that's okay. We do it very well. Okay. No, that's exactly.
And what we'll do is we'll drink to that.
It's got to be a dark beer though, right?
Well, I prefer dark beer, but
it's a busted sandal, right?
There you go. Yeah, this was Long Tab. This is that other place we want to go and talk to about getting an MTR beer.
Where's this at?
Long Tab Brewery. They're down by 10 and 410.
By the way, that reminds me, I forgot to tell you this morning. I talked to one of the local pool leagues, and they would like to do a tournament that would benefit us in early February. So more to come on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, we're into wins and challenges. Quentin, what we do is that we start with your intro. So you're going to be the fourth one today, but when we talk to you, you're going to be the intro. Give your intro, and then what we talk about is the wins and challenges for the last 2 weeks, and focus in on what you committed to. Obviously, you didn't commit, Quentin, to anything yet, but think about what you've been working on. Everybody else will be thinking about what they committed to 2 weeks ago, and how they move forward on it or how they didn't. And if there's any other things they want to talk about. So Preston, I'm going to turn to you to start us off. Wins and challenges.
Flip back to my notes from last week. Hold on.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll go from the hip. So so last week I talked about, or 2 weeks ago, I talked about, multi-level marketing and all of that fun stuff. And then I had a long conversation with it. And so I decided to, I don't know, dip my toes in the water of Primerica. Not a huge fan of multi-level marketing at all. I got deep consternation with, being chased by military spouses to buy Scentsy products. But I decided to go with it just to, they'll pay for the licensing for securities and exchange and insurance. And I thought, well, I'm gonna head down that road anyway. Might as well give it a shot and see what happens. Doesn't really hurt anything. So I decided to go on and do that. And I started with them. I've started trying to get licensed in insurance. Realized I didn't know as much about insurance as I thought I did. It's kind of complex.
Yep. Especially when you get into business insurance.
Yeah, so that's kind of a win and a challenge in the same boat. But I'm not going to get hard and heavy into it until probably it'll be after I get licensed. So I'm planning on taking the test for insurance in January, and then probably taking the license for securities in February if everything goes as planned. And then I would start working on heavy on the business side of it in March. My wife and I, we had a business for financial coaching. We were both Dave Ramsey certified financial coaches. That didn't go as well as I had hoped. When you start saying, hey, we'll charge you $100 to teach you how to, manage your money, it kind of turns people off real quick. So it goes back to working on the free funnel. And when we started that, I didn't have a lot of time because I was working 14 hours a day, and the wife she doesn't do marketing. It's like we talked about in our session earlier or last week, Don, when we talked about the technician, entrepreneur, and manager. I'm more the entrepreneur and manager. She's more the technician, and she wants nothing to do with the marketing. She just wants to help people. So
there you go.
I'm going to have to focus on the entrepreneur and marketing side of it. So that's a challenge. But the thought is to kind of merge the two businesses. So Primerica has a lot of tools that I can use along with the financial coaching side.
Okay.
And that I think I got an idea of how to really get that off the ground, but we'll see in March. We'll see what happens in March. Yeah. But first step is licensing.
Okay. How about, is that the challenge as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One thing to think about when you said the consternation, it's the mindset. And I think this applies to all of us. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, is being aware of what things bug you and how it takes residence in your head. I don't know if you guys have thought into this kind of thing, but when we talk about distractions, we talk about, there's just pick the news, for example, right? Some people watch like 5 news shows a day, or they watch TV shows that really impacts their mindset. And how many people have watched Yellowstone? That's the only one. Okay.
I haven't watched TV in like forever.
Yeah, it's been, I don't even remember.
Well, good for you guys.
TV.
My brother-in-law convinced us to get in. We did the first 4 seasons, and every week we were like, why are we going to watch this? And then we'd watch it. So they're deep in the mid, they're, I think, episode 6 of season 5. And we're like, nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. It just, because it starts getting in your head, just the things that they say, the approach, how they treat people. And It's like, that's not where I want to be.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's all those things, but we all have deep held beliefs
Yeah.
that have hit to us. And you said the one, Preston, on multi-level marketing. And at some point you gotta deal with it and figure out how it's holding you back from your business. I'm convinced I've taken longer in my business because I've had some of those. I've had to go through and deal with them, and my coach helped me walk through them. And so just as a thought. So if I can ever help anybody in that arena, it's part of this program. Don't ever hesitate to, let's have a coaching call. Just think into that. Why is it holding you back? And we all think about, fear of success sometimes. Oh, I've never had fear of success. I want success.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of us have fear of success. It's hanging out there, right? Fear of getting out in front of people, fear of seeing other people seeing what you do in terms of, it's kind of like that Ramsey coaching thing, right? It's like almost embarrassed to say we help people with budget. It really is kind of simple, but most people don't do it. Most people need it. They need it badly. So we focus in on the
Especially
pain.
military.
Yeah. Which is
Well-
why I think Latrice is in it, right?
Yeah.
With investing and stuff. Yeah.
The craziest
Right.
thing is that I remember when I joined in '97, the Marine Corps, you had to have 5 correspondence courses:
Yeah.
math for Marines, finance, leadership, terrorism was another one.
Mhm.
But finance was a thing everybody had to go to because you had to learn how to do your taxes and write a check, because that was the problem that they were having at that time. So
Mhm.
it was like a default. So when I switched over to the Army, and those guys were like, "Oh no, we never had that." I'm like, "What? Let's go. Let's go. I don't care what rank you are. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's sit down with them and don't be ashamed.
Yeah.
Put your pride to the side and get it."
Yeah. The number of people that get out of the service without having, a couple months worth of emergency savings, and they get forced into just taking a job, right?
Mhm.
They have a passion. This group here, right? Passion to be an entrepreneur, but I can't. I just got to go get a job. And then you get caught in that 40, 50-hour a week job. And then you just keep putting your dream off versus, saving $25 a month for your X number of years in the service. Boy, that's so much farther. Yep. I'm forever thankful. As soon as we got married, my wife started IRAs for both of us. And it was just $10 a month, $10 a paycheck. But boy, it helped. All right. Sorry, I'm off on a rant. Latricia, wins and challenges.
My wins is I'm making progress. I actually was able to bring on another business partner to grow my business. So it's just keeping track of everybody's training stuff, and that's been progressing fairly well. One of my challenges that I ran into is I didn't get to meet with Matt as I had scheduled because I had to cancel at the last minute due to a family situation that I thought was an actual family death back in Florida, but it turned out to be untrue. But I had to spend a lot of time trying to find out what was going on with one of my brothers. So I had to end up canceling. So I need to reschedule that with Matt. And then that's about it. Everything else is pretty much progressing along with my businesses, as well as, my co-business that I own with my wife. So
That's awesome. I appreciate that explanation on the reason to cancel, right? You probably wouldn't be amazed because you get, I'm sure, people scheduling and then canceling you, but so many people cancel and they say, "I can't make it." And you're like, what happened? I lead a leadership lab, and this guy last Friday said, and Matt, this is kind of an update for you. The guy said, "I can't make it." Well, I've had a bunch of people can't make it because one guy, his father's about ready to pass. So, I mean, he headed back for the 3rd time up to Seattle. I've had people had to cancel for just work. I've had people cancel for all kinds of reasons. I was wondering if there's something I could pray for him on or help him with. And he took offense when I asked him, "Hey, what's going on? What's prevented you?" And to the point where he was going to resign. And finally, yesterday we talked, and here we are studying the book Crucial Conversations. And I said, "You realize this is a crucial conversation?" they weren't studying. And he says, yeah, I kind of recognize that. So we opened up and we talked, and he's still in, and now we're communicating well again. But he realized that I'm not trying to call him out. His piece was, he says, all these other people are missing and you're not holding them accountable. I said,
Mhm.
well, yes, I
Everybody else
am.
is
You
doing
just don't hear it. Right? I'm just having conversations with him. What's going on? Anyway, yeah, thanks, Latricia, for that. I'm glad it wasn't something serious with your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess I do have one challenge, but
Okay.
it's kind of hard to figure out, in the military, we were always interacting with people face to face, but because of COVID and other things going on, a lot of our business is conducted over Zoom. So you really don't know individuals' personalities and stuff. So one of the challenges is, remember, I think it was when we last met, I said that we had kicked off a contest to kind of motivate people to get going and stuff. Well, it seems like there's only really me and one other person out of like 15 people, but it's hard to figure out what actually motivates a lot of them because they are not in, they don't communicate or whatever the case is. So it's kind of hard getting to know them and their personalities. And we also had agreed, a lot of us had agreed that we were going to meet twice a month outside of our normal group, just to start getting to know each other. But every time I try to schedule it, it never works out. I never get responses confirming the date and time, even though I give them a primary date and time and an alternate date and time. So I guess that would be my overall challenge that I'm having right now.
Yeah, that feedback. A lot of people overcommit, right? And then they don't follow through. And I would throw out to you the idea of getting DISC assessments or something like that on them to understand what their personality is, what their motivations are. That is just amazing when you start to understand other people and where they come from.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I've always loved the DISC.
Yep. Matt has emphasized this. So I don't think Matt's a DI, I'm an SC. We couldn't be almost farther opposites in personality. And it's caused some trouble. It's caused some trouble for us, but having the DISC assessment and understanding has allowed us to at least try to come together, and not from an anger perspective, but why is it you do it that way? How can we work together perspective? Matt, you're gonna say something?
No, you told my thought. You said what I wanted to say.
Okay. Yep. It's all about trying to understand each other.
Yep.
Thanks, Latricia. Daryl.
So wins and challenges. So wins, I guess, is just continuing working on this proposal for that dental group, which is good. So I got to get that knocked out hopefully today, send that out. I got another meeting with the business to business networking group out in Chicago. I'm talking to them about renegotiations to see if they still want to continue to have me work on these projects with them. This time with a little bit more focus, but they're still working on their platforms and those types of things. So kind of like helping them like do some beta tests and stuff like that on the back end, not technical, but from a end user perspective, that type of stuff. And of course, that one individual I met through Shape Connect that has that network of a few thousand of those medical practices that hopefully will kick off in July. And the entry point for that are those employee handbooks. So if there are other issues within the organizations like the employee handbook, blah, 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 then of course, move on to just kind of like seeding those other things that I do, so it's workforce optimization. So performance management type stuff. Challenges always with me, and I'm still working on it. We'll talk about this afterwards, but reworking the marketing plan, then possibly looking into getting someone part-time for marketing or sales or administrative assistant that will deal with like some of the marketing aspects, so to speak. And then a refocus on John Maxwell and PI with regard to the marketing / sales piece.
What's PI?
Predictive index.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's like talent optimization platforms. So they have their own version of a DISC assessment, and it's employee engagement, it's set goal setting and KPIs and those types of things also.
Yep, that's good stuff. PI.
Been
All
around
right.
for since like the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
They have history, so.
Yep, that's good.
Mhm.
All right, Quentin, now's the time for your intro, and then what wins and challenges you got?
Mine will be super quick because I just got pinged to put out a fire. So I have to jump to another meeting
Okay.
with the government. But I was taking notes as we were speaking. So introduction of myself, my name is Quentin Taylor Garcia. I retired from the Army in 2018. After 20 years, 9 months, I work in cybersecurity. That's my field.
That's right.
And with me here, I just moved to San Antonio, Texas, and our goal here is to learn the community and eventually build out to do a business of some sort. So at first, I thought I was just gonna do a business since I have a degree. I was a typical college kid. I got the degree, so I can do a business now. I know everything. And then when I started talking to people like Donna and stuff, I was like, crap, is all this other stuff included? Like, wait a minute, they didn't tell us that in class. So, life experience comes in at the same time. So I know for a fact, I'm not going to do a business in the next 5 to 10 years. Because for me, I know how I am, and I would spread myself like water instead of butter. So I'll be all over the place. So I want to learn under people, understand the business etiquette outside of the books to see how things are being done, get the life experience, and then go to the business. Because my goal is not to open up a business. My goal is to sustain a business. And that's the difference I think people are having problems with from what I've been seeing the last 2-3 years. It's like everybody's wanting to say, oh, I work for myself, but it lasts how long? I won the lottery. I'm going to be rich the rest of my life, but it only lasts 5 years.
That's right.
So I don't want to be outside of my means. And some of my wins are new roles around here. I'm working with AFCIA and PMI. And right now I'm the incoming VP of governance. And I learned last night from our meeting that it's the president, then me as the vice president. And I have like a dual role of being the VP of the chapter and governance. So I was like, where's our VP? They was like, you are the VP. I'm like, didn't know that.
Surprise. Is that for PMI or is that for
PMI?
Okay.
So I'm gonna do PMI first, and I was supposed to go to AFCIA, but talking with the incoming president, she was like, "You gonna be the next president?" I'm like, "Wait a minute! It's only 3 minutes into the call, and
that's not a good look."
Yeah, I know, right? There was like, I already feel it. I have a thing for talent, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, first I need to learn from you all, and that's why I was interested in this group as well, so I can understand the thinking methods. Because it's like when you first get promoted to another tier in your rank, you expected to know so much from people that don't know you just got promoted. But back in our time, they used to train us, be prepared for this level. You have to look up 2 levels and learn that person's job. So by the time you get promoted to the next one, you already know your boss's job to assist them and help them. And that's supposed to keep going. And it's stuck in my brain cells since the 90s. So I'm running through it and passing it on to the businesses here, networking with other people so I can understand what they're looking for, find their motivation, and see how I can bridge it between all the different organizations I'm with. And that will also help me with my business down the road, because business is all about relationships. So like Latricia was saying, you have to know those people. And if you know them face to face, it's a lot better. But now you have to have a new dynamic. So what can I do to motivate them to want to come to the meetings? What can I do to get them to feel like they're getting something out of it? And with this chapter, I feel that's what I'm going to be learning. And that's part of my challenge I wrote down, is rebuilding. Yes, the chapter is there. Yes, we have businesses, but how can you rebuild your business? And you should be rebuilding your business every so many years, because technology changes, all these other things changes, and you have to adapt. We're from the military, we learn to adapt. So let's learn how to rebuild and get that behavior as a norm instead of just a punchline. That's my
Yeah.
spiel. It's kind of long, but
That was good.
you guys were saying some good stuff. I have like a thing here of notes.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
like,
it.
man, you guys are like probing my brain cells.
All right.
And Preston talking about all the licenses, and I'm like, what the heck? Licenses? I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
And I have my board behind me, so I do my brain dumps on there. I have all my finances on keeping in order. So now I have to put up their licenses and whatever else
Yep.
they're going to throw at me.
Yep. Yeah. For him, it's the licenses in selling insurance and selling investments and those kind of things, right?
Well, that's what Anne's doing, life insurance, and
Yeah,
she
oh,
just
is
got
that-
her
okay.
license for that.
All
And
right.
it's like so many small things in between that we don't think about. It's like,
That's right.
oh,
If he's gonna look at doing insurance, you might as well look at investments too, because you can't talk life planning anymore without talking insurance and investments.
mhm.
Yep.
Well, guys, I have to jump to my next meeting,
Okay.
but
Yeah, good.
thank
Thanks
you
for
for
being here.
everything. I will be at the next one for sure because you guys got me like, I'm ready to learn from you all.
All right. All right.
Love it. Take
Good
care,
luck on your
guys.
next meeting.
Take care.
Yeah. Do you need to pop off today, Latricia? I know you usually have a noon, but are you in for a while?
Yes, I'll have to hop off like around 12:25.
Oh, okay. It's almost the whole meeting.
Yeah, this time I don't
Good.
have to drive to my location because I'm doing it over the
Good, good.
phone.
Okay. All right. So Spotlight, what questions do you have of each other? We have talked a lot of good subjects lately. Throw out a question. When you are thinking about sales, you're thinking about marketing.
Consistency.
Okay.
That's a
Give
good
me
one.
How
Give
do
me a
you
little bit-
start and how do you remain consistent as opposed to like me thinking about it all the time?
Okay.
Doing everything I need to do except putting it into place. Because I'll show you what I have a little bit later, but it's like, okay, you got all this great stuff. Let's get started.
Yep. Planning is good, but not if you don't put it in action, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if you have a war plan, it's always good to have a war plan. And you hope that you don't put it into use, right?
Right.
Emergency preparedness plan, you hope you don't put it into use.
Mhm.
But when you're a business owner, you're creating plans because you want to put it in use.
Yep.
So key thing in sales is consistency. What else do you think about?
What type of brand you want to build for your business?
Ah, yeah. What goes into your brand?
No. You're just gonna say a standardized process for an engagement, not necessarily like a discovery call, but
Okay.
once we have an interested party, what are the steps that I go through in order to deliver whatever it is that they need and making that consistent?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of different aspects.
Yep.
At least what I'm doing, probably Latrice too, and Preston, you too. But it's like, how do I provide the end product in a very efficient way so I can scale,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I had an old warrant officer who used to say, it's all about the process. It's all about the process. Got to manage the process. But
Mhm.
I was going to say relationships. You know, so in
Yeah.
my current career as a counterintelligence agent, you know, my first duty assignment was in New Jersey, and there's a stereotype with New Jersey. It's like, hey, you need a plumber? I know a guy. You need a carpenter? Hey, I know a guy. And it's usually brothers and cousins and whatever. But that's kind of carried through into my current career in counterintelligence. It's all relationships.
Mhm.
One of the things we usually look for, one of our proactive measures, is building networks of people who may or may not get pinged by a foreign adversary. So we're constantly looking for those individuals. Well, how do we find those individuals? Well, we go and talk to other people. Hey, do you know somebody that kind of meets this profile? And if I take that and apply that to the insurance and finance stuff, I'm gonna have to build a profile of somebody that I'm going to have to try to sell my product to. You have to be somebody that's financially, pardon my language, financially sucks. They don't budget, they're hurting, but it's also got to be somebody who's at that emotional breaking point to where I can actually help them. Because you think about how hard it is to change your own habits, it's even harder to change somebody else's habits. So they have to be at a certain emotional state in order to help them change.
Mhm.
So
Can you
it's
change?
a lot.
Can
What's
you
that?
change somebody else's habits?
No, they have to
Nope.
change them.
That's
But you
right.
can motivate them.
Mhm.
And
Inspire
you
'em.
can coach, and coach them, but they ultimately they have to be the one to change.
Yep. Yep. What else? What else do you think about when you're thinking about sales? The consistency. We got brand. We got process. We got relationships.
Mhm. Staying on top of your game, knowing your industry.
Industry knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, because everything's, evolving all the time, new regulations, new, whatever, new products. It's like becoming good in like one area, for example, and just sticking with what you know and not paying attention to changes that are happening with, whether it's new content or, well, Army term, right? New TTPs or whatever. You have to kind of be aware of those, I think. You have to be able to evolve.
What else?
I think the other thing is the willingness to learn new things. That's, we get static in what we're doing all the time and we just get complacent. So it's hard to get out of that complacency sometimes.
Mhm.
Kind of the coachable, teachable,
Yeah.
personal growth spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of goes along with what Darryl was saying with top of the game, but
Mhm.
but
And
it's
also with,
it's one thing to watch the things that are happening, but it's another one to actually think into, which is where Matt's going, think into what's changing and how do
Yeah.
I incorporate it in my business.
right, taking the time on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday evening or night and reading up on what's going on, as opposed to, kicking back and having some pizza and drinking some beers. It's like, no, need to
Does
stay
it
on top of my game.
does it have to be at night? Does it have to be on the weekend?
Well, that's the thing, because if you have clients and you have to do the work, and then on top of that, during the day is when you do your networking. So sometimes it's
Mhm.
breakfast, sometimes, breakfast and coffee, sometimes it's like those one-on-one lunch types of things. So between the work and then
Mhm.
the networking kind of piece, it's like, and doing the actual work for the clients, it's like, when do I have a chance to catch up? Well, if it's not during the week, and I guess you can set aside, time on your calendar and say like every, Thursday or Friday from 3 to 5 or 4 to 5 or whatever, this is what I'm going to do,
Mhm.
and do it that way.
Because there's a piece I just wrote down, life work balance, right? When you're thinking about sales and marketing, it's because it's easy to put all your contact stuff during the day and then you're working nights and weekends to try to catch up on all the other stuff that we just talked about.
Mhm,
And then pretty soon you've just lost your family, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Lose
Another
relationships.
thing, yeah, I was gonna say, so earlier this week, well, late last week, I think it was Saturday, in one of my training sessions, one of the leaders actually brought up a concept that I'm gonna actually try to implement, and he calls it, it's the mini day system, where you break up your day into like certain segments of hours. For him, he breaks up his day into 3 mini days. And during that time, he has a certain things that he's working on.
Yeah.
That when I worked at the schoolhouse, I broke everything up into 4 hour segments, and then sometimes I would have to further break it up into 2 hour segments. But yeah, that made life a whole lot easier doing it that way. So yeah, it's a good one.
Instead of, I think that would make it easier, especially, instead of looking at what you got to get done in 24 hours, breaking it up into smaller segments of time.
Yeah. Anything else when you think about sales and marketing?
No, I think just going back to what Preston said, and that's like building that those profiles, right, or avatars or whatever, right, and like really kind of focusing on those and then tweaking them as needed based on your marketing materials and how your marketing materials are, are or interact, or how people interact with your content and tweaking them.
Mhm.
Because you know who we want. We want business owners. Well, for me, I want business owners that are having issues with, workforce policies and procedures and performance management and those types of things. Those are my people. But like you were saying, there has to be a threshold, an emotional threshold that they have to experience in order for them to even look further. And then trying to identify, like I've said before, where do these people hang out? Right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
who are they and where do they hang out? But yeah.
And you need to know where they hang out because you need the volume, because you got that sifting thing. Because you're gonna sift through them till they finally become your valued client.
Mhm. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, it does
The
no
other
good to
piece-
know who they are if
Mhm.
they're not, so you're on social media, but your clients aren't on social media, right? And you're sending all kind of social media stuff, you're just missing them, right? Could be the same thing as if they're on social media and you're sending out emails.
Mhm.
You know?
Yep. Yep.
And knowing, and I just see this so much. I talked to so many people back when I was in the military, and since I got 3,000 emails in my inbox.
Hmm.
So how do you go through it? I mean, it's like I only search for certain people I know. The rest of it never gets opened.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
if you're sending them emails, guess what?
Yep.
You're in the unopened pile until
Yep.
they find a reason to want to open your email.
I'll just go down the list and add my block. They end up in junk mail. Let's go every day
Yeah, yeah,
down the list. Yeah.
yep. What would be so thinking about 2023, thinking about the things we just talked about, what's the top one or two things that you're going to try to make a change on, right? Kind of like the Pareto principle a little bit.
Marketing plan and focus and product
Okay.
focus or service focus.
Marketing plan and service
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah. So especially when it comes to measurements.
Okay. Latricia?
It would be, just being more consistent in my production from week to week.
When you say production, what do you mean?
Well, it's like some weeks I have like a lot of appointments, and some weeks I don't, because I let other people prioritize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who's scheduling time on your calendar, right? How do you control your calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. Preston?
I don't know. Like I said earlier, I've got my baby steps, not Dave Ramsey's baby steps, but I've got my steps. I've got to hit my benchmarks that I need to hit over the next couple of months. And I've been studying the insurance stuff. It's not as fun as the financial side is.
Yep.
So it's trying to get that insurance under wraps, but and then trying to balance again. My biggest challenge is always balancing the day job with stuff. And things have lightened up significantly over the past couple of weeks. I had that warrant officer that had the motorcycle wreck, and all of a sudden his workload had to get divvied out to everybody else, and I took over his admin stuff. I finished up the 2 NCOERs. He had to finish up. I took over as their senior raters, and just knocked that out. That's a different story. But anyway, yeah, just balancing the work stuff with the prospective work stuff with life and the family and being fair to the spouse. So.
Yep. Okay. Matt, what are your?
Did I freeze again?
Nope.
Okay.
What are yours, Matt, in terms of priorities, the things we just talked about, or others for 2023?
Learn to say no to certain things.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. That's my big thing, is like, okay.
What things are capturing your time?
We don't have enough time for that today, Don, but I get distracted sometimes. Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
also feeling my age of 67 years of age. So
Yeah, I think we all get distracted. And we all got different distractions. Right?
yeah,
Some of it's the news, some of it's TV, some of it's email, some of
yeah.
it's, for me, sometimes it can be the John Maxwell mentorship calls, right? It's all those things that I've already paid for that you think you got to be a part of. And it's like,
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden you realize I just paid for this and I'm not doing anything with it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Resonates, Daryl?
Oh, yeah. Slapped me
Yeah.
right in the back of the head with that one.
Yeah. So the question is,
Did you see that 2x4 coming?
As soon as I heard John Maxwell.
That's it.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's that avatar, really understanding their pain, understanding where they're at, and it's the messaging that goes with it. That's probably the biggest thing. And I'm gonna put that both from the student, right? How can we resonate with more potential students to help them, but also the fundraiser. Why do people give? How do we reckon? Why do they give to a military transition organization? I was meeting with the developmental lead for the Army Residence Center yesterday. We used to work together at the Red Cross, and she made a comment like USAA. You would think USAA would be huge, wanting to help us. So the Army Residence Center is a nonprofit. You'd think USAA would want to help, all these officers enlisted in housing, and nope, not interested. But they're all over the transition space.
They're all over the TV now. It's like, oh, you're using my money to advertise on. It's like, oh, great, thanks. Like you didn't have that issue before.
Yeah.
Now you're spending millions on advertising. Thanks.
Yeah. You probably saw your rates go up, right? That's one thing I found when I was in the service. This is just a rant. When I was in the service, USA was always cheaper. Now that I'm a retiree, it's like 30% more.
Yeah. I was like, it still makes sense to shop around for like your insurance and stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So me, it's that messaging piece. We really gotta, as Matt and I try to do more on fundraising. It's really finding who those people are and why they give, and how do we find them? How do we resonate with them? So that's a big one. All right. Watching our time here.
I've got the time done. Trust me, we're good.
Yeah, I know. I'm
We
always
got
looking.
3 minutes.
I'm always looking. Let's move to accountability. What can we hold you guys accountable for? Latricia, I'm going to start with you.
For me, it's getting back on Matt's schedule and also working on some of the things that I need to work on, like taking back control of my calendar, and as well as just trying to schedule some one-on-one meetings to get to know some of the other team members that I don't know.
Okay. Well, that calendar control is so important, especially for an entrepreneur, right? And you're constantly evaluating, is this making any difference? Matt and I, we got invited when it was remote, we got invited to it was basically the government TAP initial briefing. It was easy. Pop on for 5 minutes, maybe it's 20 minutes. You could give your 2 or 3 minute spiel and you're gone. Now that they've moved that back to in person, that's a 30-minute drive to Fort Sam. It's a 30, 40-minute sit. It's another 30 minutes back home. Is it worth 2 hours? You know how many people we got out of that? I did it for 6 to 8 months. And Matt was telling me, he says, that's not productive. And I was like persistent. This has got to be an opportunity. And but people just weren't interested. So we dropped that one out. So that was a big time saver to just the mindset piece. Again, back to mindset, right, Preston? You got to get rid of that. Certain thoughts. Thanks, Latricia.
I also have one other thing. For Preston, I would love to have another conversation with you when you have time.
I will do. Probably you want to set, well, we'll talk offline.
Okay. Daryl.
So the usual, as always. So the marketing piece, the case studies, trade publications. My work processes so they're more streamlined and make sense. So they're not so like I'm trying to like develop the wheel, over and over again. But having a streamlined methodology, put it that way.
Okay, so
Streamlining from a
you just
customer.
mentioned a year or two's worth of work.
Yes, I did. And this is not
So-
going to happen in 2 weeks, but
What-
really to hold me accountable for the marketing plan, because that's got to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna focus in on the marketing plan. Is that just finalize it?
Right. Finalize it and put it into practice.
All right, now I got something. Thank you.
Mhm.
You knew where I was gonna go, didn't
Yes, I did.
you? Preston, next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks. It's a reminder, we're not meeting again until the 3rd, so we're not meeting between Christmas and New Year's.
I was about to say, I won't be here for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to Washington to visit the in-laws for Christmas. That's going to be fun. But yeah, the big thing for accountability is just keep on studying insurance so I can pass that licensing exam and get more up to speed with it. And it's kind of funny sidebar. I had a conversation with a Northwestern Mutual guy who's trying to recruit me into Northwestern Mutual, and I'm like, nah, bro, you're too much on the annuities and too much on the whole life. I'm not down with that. And anyway, that was a fun conversation. And it's almost everybody I talk insurance with, they're like, you only want term? Yeah. So try not to be so hostile to individuals selling whole life and annuities. Yeah, comes out a little rough sometimes.
There are
Yeah.
people who
We
want.
talked about that a couple of weeks ago, or at least for me anyway. And that's like mentally preparing myself for these conversations ahead of time. So I'm not so reactive, you
Yeah,
know, in the moment.
yeah, not quite so hostile, but Anyway.
I tell you, the mindset piece is so critical. It's like on LinkedIn, when we talk posting, you will get, as soon as you get active on LinkedIn, you will get 5 or 10 a day trying to sell you this and that. And
Yeah.
you can get really perturbed with it, and it'll start eating at you, and you'll get pissed, and you'll start making posts about it on LinkedIn. And you realize that how much time am I, how much space are these guys renting in my head? And I've just got to the habit now of sales pitch, delete. I don't even say no thank you anymore. Sales
Nope.
pitch, delete. Sales pitch,
Yeah.
delete. Sales pitch, delete, and it's gone. Don't even let it put. And it's always easier said than done. But
Yeah. That's funny though, because I don't know, about 9 months ago, beginning of this year, I got involved with a couple of lead generation people with LinkedIn. One was Virtual Edge or something like that. And I said specifically, I did not want to just reach out to cold people and simply just connect with them. And I was like, oh no, we'll take care of all that for you. And I'm like, no, there's got to be an alternate way to reach out to people who are genuinely interested, as opposed to like spamming me or using my network to reach out to those people's networks and then bugging the heck out of them.
Yep.
But it's like the same thing you're saying. Now it's like delete. Oh, somebody wants to connect. I just researched your blah blah. Delete. Yeah.
I must be up to, I don't know, 50 or 60 Chinese girls. They look like 25 or 30 years old, looking to connect with me. And it's always a quick message. How are you today, Don?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not going down this road.
Ignore.
Ignore.
For me is Africans are people from 2 particular companies.
All right.
I'm like you, Don. Now I don't even read the messages. I just delete, because I know that most of the time it's someone trying to get me to sign up for their co-marketing program.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. That's
So
so
ironic.
important. It's so important to watch what gets in your mind and how much time you spend on it and how it impacts you. Go ahead, Preston, then we're going to wrap up.
say ironically, it's one of the big things we're working right now in Army counterintelligence, is getting somebody approached by somebody else through LinkedIn and trying to get their LinkedIn profile to the point to where foreign adversaries will say, hey, we want to talk to this guy, and try to recruit them over LinkedIn. And yeah, that's happened several times. So anyway, I've been using the skills I've learned from this group, and
Good.
trying to help the agent that's running that operation to get spun up for it to.
I would love to talk to that agent, because I'm definitely get the opposite side of this, and love to get your spin on this, because I often hear that, well, it's, I'm afraid that if I share information because of what I do, I really would like to do that, Preston. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll sit down. I I probably, you're retired Army, aren't you?
Air Force.
Retired Air Force. Okay.
Oh, he was public affairs. That's kind of like Army.
Yeah. Yeah. We can talk offline, Matt.
I'd
'Cause
like
I've
that.
got some ideas, but
I like that.
He's got his Cardinal shirt on today. So
Yes, I do.
All right, guys, I gotta run.
all right. Thanks,
We'll see you
Latricia.
Thursday.
Hey,
Take care.
everybody, we meet again the 3rd of January. And so it's 3 weeks. And you guys have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And if you need anything over the holidays, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're both going to be on vacation, but yeah, good
Merry
luck, everybody.
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Be safe.
Okay.
All right. Daryl, you wanted to stay on for a second? Preston, anything we
Right.
can help you with?
That's
I'm bringing
it.
up right now.
All right. You have a great one. Great to
All
have
right,
you in
you
this
too.
group. I'm changing it to make sure we get your in our paperwork in this group. So,
All right, appreciate it.
all right.
No
Okay.
more angry messages.
All right. Yeah. That was not an angry message this morning. That was in a query.
Hey, where are you at, dude?
I said, hey, we missed you this morning. What happened? Are you okay?
I know. I'm just messing with you, Don.
I'm sensitive
All right,
now
I'll
after
see-
this other guy. Yeah. All right. Matt, we're going to talk marketing plan for a second. You're willing to join? You're
Yep,
welcome to
I was
join us,
just
but you don't
thinking-
have to.
No, I just made you host. I've got
Okay.
I've got a 1 o'clock meeting I gotta get ready for in a minute, but yeah.
Let me just bring this up. Let me share my screen. Whoops. Oh, no, I can't share it yet.
Oh, I can fix that.
I got it. You can jump off, Matt, if you.
No, I want to hear what he has to say.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're co-host now.
All right, there we go. I think we're over here on this screen. Okay, let me go back here to my stuff. Where's my marketing stuff? This is kind of like where I am, and I'll just show this because it's a little ad hoc right now. Close this
I'm going to take screenshots and sell it if you don't mind.
thing. Nobody's gonna want to buy this.
Just teasing.
Okay, so let's start with content ideas for my
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, you haven't shared yet.
Oh, there we go. Over here. Can you see?
All I see is your beautiful face,
it?
handsome face.
Well, thank you. What the heck? There's screen 2. Oh, that's what that's for. Share. Okay.
Now I see it.
Okay, so
Content ideas and tips. Yeah.
right, so this got to be modified. Right, so at least I have all of my content ideas for like pretty much the year, and they could be recycled, right? Or modified or added to.
Okay. I love it. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
5.
Hmm.
I like number 5.
What's number 5?
5 signs that show organizations missing essential HR. Whatever, I can't see.
HR.
Yeah.
Oops, here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like the performance management, which should be a priority. That, yeah. There's some really good ones there.
Mhm.
And these will be modified because this this was for the beginning of 2022.
Uh-huh.
But it's all going to be modified for 2023 if it even needs to be modified. So
They're what I
Probably
would
does
call,
because quiet quitting and all these other things are really taking a.
and the
Huge
psychometrics.
focus.
Yep, that could be the disc,
Mhm.
right? So personality and cognitive assessments, all that good stuff or whatever. But this is just my list of content ideas to build either social media posts about or blog posts.
Yep. I love it.
Okay, that's one piece. I guess that you call it like a foundational kind of piece, and
Mhm.
then
So what do you do
where is
then in
it?
that document? Then you go through each one and you kind of build out each one.
Right, that's not
Okay.
it. Where's my oh, there it is. And then this one is my posting theme calendar. So I know kind of like what I'm gonna focus on. And this is gonna be updated, I think quarterly maybe, but we'll see. Just so I can kind of start measuring like what do you call it, engagement.
Yep.
And this is how this is built out,
Oh, building it by month. Yeah.
right?
How do you do it by week and by day of the week?
Well, that's the thing, because I mean, for the month of February, 4 weeks, right? So for 4 weeks, each month or each week, there will be something regarding employee training and development,
Okay.
and that'll be the focus for that month. Or I was thinking about doing it by quarters, right? So every 3 months, it could be employee training and development. Then every 3 months, it could be organizational design. And then every 3 months, it could be performance management.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, when everybody's kind of winding down, and sometimes depending on what their sector is, they're going to wind down from their fiscal years and start looking at other, what's going to happen next year. But maybe in November, we start posting things like this, a year-end review, planning considerations, reevaluate performance management, organizational plan. So more strategic organizational goals, and start looking at those.
I like it.
And that's November, December timeframe.
Because you could
For
have
example.
you could have strategy wise, this is going to be the year of, and say there's 4 components, and each quarter we're going to have focusing on this, and then each month of that there's like 3 components of that.
Right.
And you can kind of break it down
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
That's my planning mind. Okay.
And then also, this is also, these kind of themes are in line with my 3 core services. So organizational design, performance management, and employee training and development, to include leadership, right? Or leadership and communication, or whatever the case may be. So that's where the John Maxwell piece kind of comes in.
Yeah.
But each one of those, according to what I've developed over the last year, I had to refine it because it was all over the place. So it's like, what are the 3 things that I can really kind of like focus on?
Okay.
And that turned out to be these 3, which are all embedded in my website.
I love it.
I got a thought here, Daryl.
Mhm.
When you look at performance management, how do you differentiate between baby boomers like Don and I versus Generation Z? What's your thought on that?
Well, I think the first thing to start is take a look at where people are in terms of their careers and their tenureship in different organizations, because even doing these compensation studies I've been doing and talking to different people that have, for example, 20 to 30 years of experience, and talking to people that have 1 to 7 years of experience, their mindset and their values based on compensation are different.
Right.
So the younger organization, or the younger demographics, are really interested in their take-home pay. The older demographics they're concerned about take-home pay, but they understand the value of a good insurance policy or employee compensation health benefits plan. They understand that because they're either getting married or have kids, or they have dependents. So they understand, hey, this insurance policy is like only $180 a month with the state of Florida, as opposed to, 2, 3, 4,000 in the private sector. So they get that, but the younger people want the take-home pay, the older demographic. So that's one piece with regard to performance management, because those compensation packages impact performance.
So there you have just a blog right there. What's the difference between those 2 in terms of that one aspect? Yeah.
Right. And there are some other things, opportunities for growth and opportunities for development, and on the more raw scale, it's like, how are you being evaluated? Do you understand at what level you are supposed to be performing at? And are you getting that guidance, right? Through performance evaluations and good communication skills, and ensuring that people have the resources that they need, whether it's training or equipment or whatever, to make sure that they're able to get the work done that they need to get done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that's the calendar based on the first document, right? Does that make sense?
Yep. 100%.
Okay. And these are a couple. Oops, sorry, that's another client. Okay. Let me go to.
I'm going to say goodbye at this point, Daryl. Let's talk some more, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here also. I'm not going anywhere for a while until you kick me out.
We don't kick anybody out, as long as you're getting value.
Yep.
Just so you're aware, we did invite, and I'm trying to push all the Bunker Labs veteran and residence folks, two from my fall cohort, and then there's 4 in the spring cohort, trying to get them to come in and try this out.
Nice.
When we talked about it, everybody was like, oh yeah, that would be so good. And I think it's probably just too much for this month, but maybe I can get them in the next month.
Got it. Okay. This is a little bit broader, and take a look at this if you want, but this is like a draft that I came up with regard to lead generating activities.
Love it. Thanks. There's a whole document on this. This is a,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, yeah,
makes sense.
and structured in my Microsoft Word notebooks.
Okay.
Maxwell, and this came from their site, so,
Good.
or their stuff. I think this came from Chris Robinson, though, basically.
Okay. You finding value in it so far?
Well, probably if I'd use it.
Yeah.
All right, but that's that daily lead, and then I have another one that's similar.
I'm going
Just
through
look
the
at my
evaluation
routines.
of, am I going to sign up for club again in March, or am I going to let that one go? And am I going to stay in mentorship, which is August?
Yeah, I've got to sign up for the IMC too, for what is it, March or whatever.
Yep.
Operational rhythm is just kind of like my rough time allocation.
Oh, that's so important.
And this is the charts based on like weekly, so hours.
I was going through that last week because, I'm running 2 companies plus involved in a nonprofit. And I was like, what percentage of my time am I doing on each one of those? And how do I control that?
Right.
Because right now I'm trying to work my for-profit business,
Mhm.
but my nonprofit business, this MTR, it's just sucking up so much time.
Yeah.
And how do I say no? Like Matt said earlier, how do you say no?
Mhm.
And how do you allocate your time? So when somebody says, "Hey Don, can you do this for MTR?" No.
Right.
I have 3 hours this week outside of cohorts and admin and MTR meetings. And so I have 3
Mhm.
hours a week to put into doing things.
Right.
That's not going to fit.
Yep. Yep. Which is kind of like why I put this time frame down for each one of these things. All right. So I know how much time it's like if I'm spending 25.5 hours a week, that allows me to have like 15.5 hours a week to work.
Mhm.
Right. Or to do anything that's not related to any of these things.
That's right.
Okay.
Good
But
stuff. That's great.
that's that kind of
Okay.
helped. And my marketing flows. Okay, this is a little bit more complicated, but
This is kind of like your funnel, so to speak.
exactly.
Are you doing lunch and learns?
Nope.
Okay. Don't feel
Nope.
bad. I'll just
Right now it's just I go to Chamber Network, my bi-weekly Chamber Leads Group network thing every other Wednesday, and every other Monday I do either a lunch or a dinner with the what they call the Tallahassee 100 Club, which is business owners club here in Tallahassee. Other than that, that's all I've been doing, and I haven't even been doing that regularly, which I've got to get back into.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Reddit, Quora.
But this could be possibly anything for you, especially down here.
Well, we definitely get most of our referrals through LinkedIn because there's the big push is for folks who are military searching for jobs to be on LinkedIn, to open up the account, to build the profile. It's the job hunting profile, right? That's what we do. Which wouldn't always be the same for businesses with HR or businesses with project management. They may be off on a different platform.
Right. But it's kind of like why I added these other ones.
Yeah.
So.
And it'll probably be even, you go back by generation, right? To Gen Z, are they job hunting on LinkedIn?
They're like all over they're in like Instagram and what's the other thing that's out there? Instagram and something else. Was it TikTok and stuff?
TikTok, yep.
Yeah, it's like
That's the big one.
What is that even? Anyway, that's the older
it's 1 minute or less videos.
Gen X in me saying if you're interested in business, you go to LinkedIn. If you're interested in stupid waste of time videos, then you go to TikTok. That's just me.
Yep. There's a lot of people moving to TikTok right now for business.
Yes. Yeah.
It's huge.
I've got to stay with it. I have to stay with it.
Yep. All right.
But
I got a couple more minutes left.
Yep. And I think this is something else. I forgot what it was I was developing.
Okay.
on that. It's been so long.
This is coming
But,
right out of the mindset of Maxwell and
Well, yeah,
funds.
it's a cross-reference between
Mhm.
Maxwell and then also two other sources that I was working with, like lead generation. I won't say working with. Well, yeah, kind of two other. One's called Consulting Success. And then there was another one that was basically a Facebook lead generator. Well, Facebook and LinkedIn lead generator, which is where some of this stuff came in.
There you go.
So, but that's that.
Okay.
And I think that might be, oh, explainer script, income generating activity. Yeah, we already saw that.
Did we?
Yeah, that was this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That was the beginning.
Yeah. And posting. Oh, and then I got this from another Facebook group I was on. Whoops. And this is just about lead magnets.
Oh, that's something I got to get into.
But this is a little bit different. It's a little bit more in depth than just like a blog post, so to speak.
Mhm. That's one thing we do. For us, at least for me, Matt and I got to work through it.
Mhm.
My whole focus is the email list,
Mhm.
getting that email list going, and
But that's a,
so social media goes out, and you create lead generators to try to get email
Yep.
addresses, and we
Exactly.
do these webinars. We do these webinars to get email addresses.
Yep.
And
And this is,
Matt's of the mindset that we do the webinars just to add value. It's like, well,
oh,
yeah, we
no.
do, but
However, yeah, it's like,
you want to get their email address and communicate with them.
yep, keep them up to date. But this is good because it's a little bit more detailed than the normal stuff you see on the web.
Okay.
Which is helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
offer pre-report videos, access to micro course, whatever, but they give you
Yeah.
examples and then also how to identify your own,
Yeah.
success. And then you have the different types of, I guess you can call them lead generation, ebooks, audiobooks, PDF downloads, reports and infographics, webinars, predictions. What else do they have here?
Now
Cheat sheets,
you've taken this down now, and you've said for 2023, I'm going to do this, right? Because you got so many
Exactly.
ideas here, you can't do them all. I'm
Right.
going to do this one first. I'm going to do this one second.
Right. And obviously the first one for me, it's going to be the content.
Yep. Okay.
So whether it's a blog and then taking a piece of that blog and creating shorter captions, social media posts,
Mhm.
and I guess over time testing out a couple of these different types of lead generators, free scripts, worksheets, spreadsheet templates, calculators, quizzes, special offers, free strategy sessions. But it has a nice little list for lead magnets, which is nice. But yeah, so that's kind of like
Okay.
my hodgepodge of marketing stuff.
Perfect. Well, if you wouldn't mind sharing it, I appreciate it. Obviously, mine's it's not a copy paste. This just gives me the ideas
Mhm.
to think into.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then of course that goes back to what Preston was saying, or what we were saying earlier about, tying all that into like a CRM / Zoho social or whatever they want to use.
Yeah.
Hootsuite.
I gotta get into. I keep creating my own content every morning for LinkedIn and stuff. I want to batch it and create it.
You do this too. Oh, batch it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just have it done.
Yeah. So then you can schedule it. So like when I go off on camping, I'm not missing those days, right?
All right.
Yep.
This
I'm gonna have
I've
to
used
jump
this a
to-
couple times. This might help with something with your
Okay.
gosh dang, where's the chat? There it is. Kind of like the AI thing, but this is based on Google.
Willbot.
All right. And I can help you with like rewording things. And that's got some other features too.
I will explore it. Oh, Quillbot.com.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm planning on being at IMC in March.
Okay.
I kind of got the sense that both you and Sean also, I don't know if you know Sean well, she's in our cohort number 1, 8:15 Thursday nights.
Okay.
So he also joined, and I think you both are coming in
Yep.
March
Yep.
because you both paid now.
And I'm really interested in, that corporate piece.
Oh, are you? Corporate facilitation?
Yep, because that's my audience, or like the executives. It's like, or at least that's one part of my audience, are the executives.
So double check. At one point, Chris Robinson said this was made not to sell. This is made for people who are in companies, in government.
Oh
to
yeah, no,
help
there's a
them.
different, there's a different program for team, and there's a different program for individuals that are already
Business
in
owners?
organizations.
Okay.
So they can take that information and use it within their organization without reselling it. And then you have us that, and this is where it gets cloudy for me, because they don't enumerate exactly what it is that you get with the corporate facilitation. They talk more
Yeah.
about employees, basically, for businesses.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, for a year you get this and and you can have these resources to help your own people, whatever, but it's not for sale. But
Yep.
yeah, I'll check into it more. But
Okay,
I saw that and I was
sounds
like,
good.
that's like, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sounds good. I appreciate it. And
Yep.
I gotta jump off, grab lunch before 1 o'clock.
Okay, sounds good. Take care, Don, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thanks for all your dedication to this group.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.